Hi everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for the Mountain Weather Information Service. This is your planning outlook video updated on Tuesday the 13th of February. Now there's some changes ahead as we go towards next week as pressure begins to build and things look like becoming drier overall. In the short term though, it's still rather changeable with some further snow and rain at times. Temperatures just look like lifting for a spell as we go through this weekend, and then hints that things are generally colder running towards the later part of February. Let's have a quick look at the charts for the next couple of days. Plenty more details for your local area on the Mountain Weather website. This is for Wednesday. We've got fronts driving north and eastwards across the country. Some persistent snow turning to rain up to quite high levels across England and Wales as this warm sector moves in. Widespread gale force winds, then storm force in fact across higher tops, and low cloud extensive through the day. Heaviest snow looks as though it's focused on the south and western Scottish Highlands. Now by Thursday those fronts will have passed eastwards. We're back into a chilly westerly regime then, as we've seen commonly in recent times. Snow and hail showers then very frequent in western Scotland, fewer showers towards the east, and some bands of showers moving into western regions of England and Wales as well. Temperatures then on the higher tops around -4, -5, and winds up to gale force, strongest across northern Scotland. Now by Friday, pressure is building gradually across southern parts of the British Isles, so many areas across Wales and the Pennines should be dry, 1 or 2 residual showers and some low cloud around western mountains. Something of a front, uncertainties of its detail, is draped across western and northwestern parts. Could be some persistent snow on that across the Western Highlands, some rain maybe at the lowest levels, and the best part of the Scottish Highlands looks to be further toward the east, with the wind flow generally west or southwesterly. Could be up to gale force at times on higher tops. Now the weekend synoptic charts at this stage look something like this. Saturday has got fairly high pressure across southern regions, a few showers coming into more western mountains, fairly well scattered, not quite as heavy as they've been in some recent times, and the wind flow looking a bit lighter, with the highest cloud bases focused again towards more eastern areas. Fronts though are trying to come in off the Atlantic maybe later in the day. Now with some difficulty of detail, those might just sweep their way in into Sunday to produce an awkward mix of snow and rain coming in from the Atlantic. Most constant precipitation, if you like, is across more western regions, and drizzly damp conditions could well affect the hills of England and Wales, with temperatures lifting within that warm sector and the risk of wind strengthening. Let's have a look at temperatures as we go towards the weekend, and this is Friday, and this is the 850 millibar level. That's at around 5,000 feet at this stage. As pressure begins to build, that level just lifts a little bit compared to maybe what it has been in recent times. So we're slightly higher than the Scottish tops on this chart, but we're around -3 to -5, I suspect, on the Scottish Munros. And something similar into Saturday. You might just lift a degree or so, around -1, -2 on the higher tops in the Lake District. Through Saturday into Sunday, though, we see a push of milder air just come in from the Atlantic briefly, and values rising towards or even above freezing on many of the mountains. Terrain is essentially staying frozen, but it could just be some melting, some thawing of lying snow, and maybe some icy conditions just developing where that thaw then refreezes. Now, it's quite an interesting transition as we go through the weekend, and this is a vertical profile of temperature up through the atmosphere. And don't worry about some of the technical details on this chart. The red line is the temperature fall with height. You've got lines of constant temperature going diagonally up the chart there, and you can see that around 4,000 feet is at that position. And through Saturday, there's still a drop of temperature with height that takes you from around freezing or just above at sea level to around -3, -4, or maybe a little bit below at 4,000 feet. The location of this chart is based on calendar in the central Scottish Highlands, just out of interest, but it'll be a pretty similar story everywhere. This is by the middle of the day on Sunday then, and quite a change by that stage. We've got a fairly uniform temperature profile with height, so you might just be around or just a degree or so above freezing point, right the way up from the surface, sea level up towards 4,000 feet, and only then does temperature start to fall away. So a tricky picture for Sunday, getting that temperature described just right to you. I think the idea of some milder air getting in is believable, but there could be a few glens and a few corries that hang on to temperatures that stay below freezing point, so hence any thaw probably quite slow going, and the ground surface where it's frozen will just hang on to its cold surface temperatures. And it's a similar picture through into Monday with, again, a little change of temperature with height, terrain probably extensively frozen, some of the glens and the corries below freezing point, but the general air temperature right the way up to the higher summits may be just a degree or so above freezing by this stage. We might find that as high pressure builds across the country that something of an inversion sets up where higher tops, the air temperature at least, gets a few degrees above freezing, whilst lower levels could be staying at or below freezing point, particularly with frost overnight. Some banks of low cloud, some low level fog, and some of the higher tops then above any of that low cloud. That could well be the story as we go through into the start of next week. Just running on the sequence then over a few days, we see high pressure most likely centred near or across the British Isles, just trying to move further northwards, and with time it settles itself north of Britain and towards Scandinavia, which does allow that scope for an easterly wind to set up. Still some uncertainty on just a few of the forecast models going ahead, but it seems to be the consensus that something of an easterly pattern is likely to get going as next week progresses. So that's the 7-day pressure anomaly, which takes you through until the 26th of February, and it seems to be that theme that high pressure is focused north of the British Isles, so a pattern coming in from the east with the chance for cold air coming in from Scandinavia, but it depends critically exactly where that air mass has originated from in terms of what temperatures we see. But at the very least, it looks as though we're losing that westerly pattern that's dominated recent weeks. That's the main change in the outlook as we head towards the final part of February. Snow showers are possible coming into some eastern regions off the North Sea, but I think overall a drier theme is what we're looking at as we go further ahead. And once we've changed to that more blocked easterly, it could be one that stays with us for some time, maybe even through into March. We'll see how things go, of course, and keep you right up to date. We'll update this full planning video for you again on Friday. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.